And Zeus, gatherer of the clouds, answered and spake unto her, My child, what word hath escaped the door of thy lips? Nay, didst thou not thyself plan this device, that Odysseus may assuredly take vengeance on those men at his coming? As for Telemachus, do you guide him by thine art as well as thou mayest, that he so may come to his own country all unharmed, and the wooers may return in their ship with their labor all in vain? Therewith he spake to Hermes, his dear son, Hermes, forasmuch as even in all else thou art our herald, tell unto the nymph of the braided tresses my unerring counsel, even the return of the patient Odysseus, how he is to come to his home, with no furtherance of gods or of mortal men. Nay, he shall sail on a well-bound craft, in sore distress, and on the 20th day arrive at fertile Scheria, even at the hand of the Phaeacians, who are near of kin to the gods. And they shall give him all worship heartily as to a god, and send him on his way in a ship to his own dear country, with gifts of bronze and gold, and raiment in plenty, much store, such as never would Odysseus have won for himself out of Troy, yea, though he had returned unhurt with the share of the spoil that fell to him. On such wise he is fated to see his friends, and come to his high-roofed home and his own country. Even as a god, and the god of gods, Zeus, you're still kind of a middle manager, aren't you? Delegating responsibilities, setting priorities, making sure operations are flowing properly, listening to folks on the front line, telling them, giving him information as to what is happening, what's important, then having to make decisions. And yeah, doesn't sound like it's all that it's cracked up to be. Would you accept being immortal and being able to throw thunderbolts and lightning, and taking the shape of any animal you want in order to lay with mortals? Would you do all of that if it meant that you still had to basically listen to quarterly reports and make decisions on how to run the world? I don't know, man. Doesn't sound like a fun time to me. What is he saying? What is he sending Hermes to go do? Side note. I sometimes like to give you a little peek behind the curtain here. I don't know why I want to say Hermes. It is hard for me. Of all of the gods' names, Hermes is the one that I have the hardest time with, because every time I say it, I say Hermes. I don't know where I got that, but it is so ingrained in my brain that I have to restart every sentence that has the name Hermes in it. I even had to, you're not going to hear it, I even had to restart the sentences I'm saying right now. I can't even get it out of my mouth correctly. Oy, oy, oy. But what is Zeus telling Hermes to go do? Hermes being the messenger of the gods, he is sending him out to go to Calypso, the nymph, and tell her, yo, you got to let Odysseus go. He's got to go back home. And that, specifically, he's going to be sent out on a well-bound raft in sore distress. I don't know exactly what that means, but that he has to spend 20 days at sea until he arrives at Scheria, land of the Phaeacians. When he arrives there after 20 days at sea by himself, I hereby decree that they will worship him as a god and send him on his way back home with a bunch of booty. I mean that in the kind of old archaic term. Bronze, gold, raiment in plenty, as he says, more than the spoils he got at Troy. I'm thinking this is a way of Zeus giving back to Odysseus for what he has been through in this waylaid experience, that he is eventually going to return unhurt back to his home and country. So I'm curious what you all think here. Is what Zeus says what is going to happen? I mean, it's interesting in and of itself that he's not just like snapping his fingers and making Odysseus return home, with like some sort of magic trick, that he is setting out a pretty specific plan. Why 20 days? Why not 2 days? I mean, I guess you do have physics and the way time works, maybe even Zeus doesn't have control over that it takes 20 days in order to get him home. As we learned yesterday, Odysseus, and we heard before, Odysseus doesn't have a ship, he doesn't have companions, so how do we get him from point A to point B? Well, Zeus is going to allow him to have a raft that is made from, I'm assuming, materials on the island, and that if he has to take a raft, then at minimum, it's going to take 20 days to get there, so maybe he's just setting out like, okay, this is what we have to work with, and this is how we're going to get there. And no harm is going to come to him during all of this, but it's going to suck. There's not really a way around that. It makes it kind of an interesting limitation for the gods to not just be able to divinely intervene and shape the world, with like a paintbrush, that they actually have to work within the rules of their own universe. But my question to you all is the idea that Zeus is saying that he's going to return home unhurt. And specifically in that first paragraph, when he's talking to Athena, asking her, isn't this your own plot? You've devised all this yourself. You're specifically guiding Telemachus, and you're saying that all the wooers are out to get him and harm Odysseus's land and his son. But, don't overstate your case, Athena. You've already set it up so that Telemachus isn't going to be harmed. Sorry, I keep forgetting the question to you all, which is, laying out that Telemachus, Odysseus aren't going to be harmed, are we to take that as if that's for sure going to happen because these are the gods setting it out? And if so, God, I sound like the History Channel. And if so, does that affect our investment into Telemachus and Odysseus? Not knowing that there's not really a threat to their life? Or are we in a position now where we just want to see it unfold because they're not giving all the details of how it will go? Is there a way for something else to intervene? I guess I'm just a little unsure of how to take this. I'm sure it will become obvious the more we read, but my brain works in trying to orient myself to, okay, what level of investment do I have for these characters here? What are the stakes? What are the potential consequences? And not knowing if it's a sure thing that Odysseus and Telemachus aren't going to be hurt, then how do I engage with what's being presented to me? I guess, I don't know. I just continue to be a passive passenger I wonder if those words are connected. A passive reader in this story until all will be revealed. So join me here tomorrow as we learn a little bit more about what is going to happen to Odysseus and Zeus's plan. Until then, okay, goodbye. Odyssey is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. The show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Odyssey, written by Homer. Theme song by Neuroflow. You can support this show and other shows like it by going to patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.